This question is essentially a second part of the last clip I just made. Student is asking, how do we go through long vignettes on the USMLE and still be time effective? Okay, very popular question, very important one to address. So before we get started, please subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. Help grow this channel. Share with one of your friends who's prepping for USMLE. Hit the like button. Hit the bell if you want notifications. And find me on Instagram at Mehlman_medical, MEHLMAN_medical, and the link is down below. Now, let me address the actual question. So, how do we get through long vignettes and still be time effective? The answer is, if you get long vignettes, it's often ideal to glance at the answer choices first and then look at the last couple lines. That's a starting point, okay? If you get a 1 or 2 liner question, you can just read the question start to finish. The worst thing you can do, okay, is to get a long question pop up on the screen and you start reading from the beginning. Okay, if I'm, let's say, doing a Skype session with a student and I send a question over the Skype and the student starts reading from the beginning, a 47-year-old woman comes to and I just say, stop fucking reading, okay? Like, glance at the answer choices. So you know what kind of question it is. Is it microbiology? Is it what's the diagnosis? Is it next best step in management? What kind of question is it? You quickly glance the answer choices. You're going to glance at the last couple lines because in probably a quarter to a third of your questions, you can ascertain the answer just from the last couple of lines. You could get a big fucking paragraph and then the last sentence says, oh, by the way, there's bihilar lymphadenopathy, and you're like, okay, it's sarcoidosis. I'm like, yeah, why'd you read the whole question? Okay, so, or you can get a big question, lots of lab values, and then the last sentence says, there's gram-positive rods, and then you see the answer choices, and listeria is the only gram-positive rod listed. Okay, so you have to, if you get long questions, it's ideal to glance at the answer choices, glance at the last couple of lines, okay? If they give you a whole bunch of lab values, you're also going to glance at those lab values first. I do not go back to the beginning of the question unless I can't get the answer from the last couple lines in the lab values. Okay, so my process is, if you send me a question, let's say over the Skype, and it's a long fucking question, what's going to happen is I'm going to look at the answer choices real quick. I'm going to look at the last couple lines. If I can't get the answer, I'm going to glance at the lab values if they're there. You know, it might be BUN to creatinine ratio. It might be acid-based stuff. It might be electrolytes, potassium, sodium, etc. So I'll glance at all that stuff. And if I still can't get the answer, then if there's a paragraph vignette above that's pretty long, I glance around it, sort of just I'm like, is there blood pressure? Is there fever? Are there buzzwords that my brain has been accustomed to seeing? I glance around. That can often get me the answer. If I still can't get the answer, okay, so if this were live and it's candid, you're watching me do a question, you'll see my process. It's like, I'll look at the answers, look at the last couple lines, look at the lab values, I'm glancing around, and then maybe if I still can't get the answer, you'll observe. You'll see like 7 seconds in, I'll say, I'm just like, fucking serious? I'm like, I actually have to read this question, and then I'll go back to the beginning, okay? I don't romanticize, like, this isn't some prep course with an artificial strategy that you have to implement. I don't romanticize, okay? My process for going through long questions is a function of literally doing this with students as my job for 9 years every day, okay? Where I see thousands and thousands and thousands of questions, and I don't even read questions anymore. So if I'm articulating right now, like, what do I do? What's my process for getting through questions? As I said, you go backwards. Answer choices, last couple lines, lab values, glance around, random keywords, temperature, vitals, etc. If you can't get it still, you start from the beginning, okay? And then you can try to read quickly through it. That's my process. Now, the caveat is, on your real exam, of course you're going to double check and make sure that there's no catch or that you actually were able to ascertain the correct answer. Okay, like, you might be able, on your real exam, you might be able to, after 8 seconds, say, oh, I think this is sickle cell, but I'm still going to read the question just in case, because it's your real deal. Okay, you want to be careful. Same thing with the NBME exams. You want an accurate score prediction, you might be able to ascertain the answer quickly, but you're still going to just double check. But don't get a long question and just start blindly from the beginning. A 62-year-old gentleman comes, don't fucking do that, okay? It's not what you want to do. If you get a 1 or 2 liner, as I said in the beginning of this clip, you can just read straight up from the beginning. It's fine. But on the step 2 in particular, when you get really long stems, you want to essentially go backwards, okay? That's how you can get through long questions more time effectively or efficiently, okay? Like, that's essentially what I see as ideal. And as I already mentioned, it's not that I romanticize some like artificial strategy. It's what I've been doing over the years. It's what I've evolved to do. Okay, so that's your short consolidated answer here. Obviously, I'll make more content. If you have questions, you can drop them in the comments below. If you like my stuff, subscribe to my channel, and I appreciate your time. That's it.